You guys, I am so excited to be here with you all today. I've been obsessed with this topic of expectation versus reality for this entire year because I think all of life can be categorized into one of these categories. Either we're hoping and we're anticipating and we're expecting a future outcome, or we've known and experienced a past event, or we're living in the reality of a current situation. And so today we're going to be talking about this in the lens of influencer marketing. But the more I've been diving into this topic, the more I've started to see that this topic is way bigger than me. It's certainly way bigger than influencer marketing. And so to start to unpack all of this, I want to start with this idea of expectations, because I think certainly we can all agree that we've got a lot of them throughout life. I think one of the reasons that I've been thinking about expectations so much this year is that my wife and I are in a season of expecting. We've got a little baby dude who's on the way. Yeah, give it up. I'm pumped up to be a dad. He's coming in just 5 short weeks. And so as I've been anticipating and expecting and looking forward to this little dude entering our world, I've started to realize that I've got a lot of expectations in this whole process. Who is he gonna be like? What's he gonna act like? What's he gonna look like? What's our life gonna look like when he actually enters into this world? I've got expectations that things might look a certain way, and it's gonna be happy-go-lucky, and our life's gonna be so much more amazing. I think that's true, but I actually went to a birthing class last night, and it sounds like it's gonna be a lot more like this. A lot more sleepless nights, and I think it's gonna be a lot more of this as well. That's okay, because we have a lot of these. I've never changed a diaper before, so I'm looking forward to starting that journey with all you other fellow parents out here. But the more I've been thinking about expectations, I'm starting to wonder, who is this baby boy gonna be when he grows up? And that's started to take a more introspective turn, and I've started thinking about, what did I expect my life was gonna look like? I think one of the first examples that comes to my mind is back when I was in first grade, and I was convinced my destiny was to be an NBA superstar. Right? I had the bed sheets, I had a basketball, I would play basketball all the time with my friends. We would trade basketball cards like nothing else every single day. And I was just at the courts dunking on the fools, just dunking left and right. It wasn't a real dunk, it was staged. And I had every expectation in my mind that my life was gonna look like this. Like, I didn't have a plan B, this was it. I was going to be in the NBA. It was in my name. I thought, like, Michael Jordan, it's like just a natural next step. The reality was, I had zero athletic talent whatsoever. I was horrible at sports. I would airball every single game, and after 5 years of putting no points on the board, my parents were like, yeah, Jordan, I think you need to do band, which I'm forever grateful that they did that. So that expectation didn't really pan out the way that I had imagined it. Fast forward, I spent my last semester studying abroad in Australia, where I really got bit by the travel bug. And naturally, my next career step was, after I graduated with my degree in marketing, I wanted to be a pilot, because that's what you do, right? You get a degree in marketing, and your next natural step, I thought I could be a pilot. I could continue jet setting around the world. I could look really cool like this guy. I could have aviators and post up by a plane like a boss. And I actually went down that road. But I very quickly realized I don't do well 30,000 feet in an aluminum tube. I get horribly claustrophobic, so this job didn't last more than a few months. And as I started thinking about expectation versus reality in our life, I think we can all relate that sometimes we have this expectation of how things are gonna go, but then it doesn't really pan out the way that we imagine it panning out. Maybe that's in a material thing, maybe that's in a relationship, or maybe, like the reason that we're all here today, is that we've had an expectation on a campaign, on our last campaign, that it was going to be this silver bullet. And as soon as it deployed, everything was going to get better. And it deploys, and then, yeah, and then that happens. And it doesn't really achieve the goals that we had set in mind. I think so often as a marketer, we anticipate this hockey stick effect happening. But when things actually start panning out, reality doesn't set in the way that we had hoped it happening. And my goal today is not for us to scrap a tactic entirely, Rather, I want us to reframe our expectation so our reality can be even better. As Shakespeare once said that the root of all heartache is expectation. So today I want us to mend these broken hearts, to start to put things in perspective, to set the right expectation no matter what type of campaign that you're running. So to start with setting our right expectation for our marketing strategy, I like to think about building a marketing strategy as building a bridge. People have been building bridges for thousands of years. Usually you need a bridge to get over water, but the next step is you start with these stones on the side. And you need a lot of supporting stones to build a bridge. And you got them starting to build up, chunk, 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 and you got all of these stones that are starting to go together. And you need these, and they're all supporting, and they all kind of work together. There's one stone that is the most important stone in an entire bridge. If you don't have this stone, you don't have a bridge. It's the last stone, and it locks all the other stones into place. And this is called the keystone. And people love a keystone. The whole community loves a keystone because it enables your bridge to actually be functional, to be able to be walked across. With no keystone, London Bridge starts falling down, and the waters start to rise, and you get chaos. No one likes a bridge without a keystone. And I think in the same way, I want us to be thinking about our marketing strategy in the same way that you build a bridge. And you do that not by starting with those supporting stones, but by starting with your keystone. And we love to ask this question. It's my favorite question to ask when we start a client engagement, and that is, what is your keystone key performance indicator? Your Keystone KPI. Your most important objective. I want us to be thinking about that. With all the disparate campaigns that we've got running, what is that one thing that if we only accomplish this one thing, it's going to be a success? Take out all the supporting elements. What's the one thing that we want to accomplish with this campaign? What actually freaks me out is that 66% of B2C and 55% of B2B content marketers don't have a working definition of what success looks like. That freaks me out. As someone who's helping you be a steward of your brand marketing dollars, that scares me. I want to know what success is going to look like. And I don't think it's because we don't have goals. I think it's because our life looks like toast. And what I mean by that is that we've got a CEO that's saying we need more sales. We've got our CMO saying we need more awareness. And then we need Jerry who's saying we need more followers. And I love Jerry, but Jerry's stuck in 2015. And we've got Doug saying, I don't know what we need, we just need to make it look cool. And so then we're stuck, and our budget is our butter. We are stuck smack dab in the middle of all these competing priorities. And we only have so much time, we only have so much effort and energy. And so we start down this road, and we start trying to get more sales, and we start trying to get more awareness, and more traffic. We go, oh, we gotta make Doug happy. Very soon, we start getting these dry spots though, and we start realizing that, yeah, we're spreading ourselves way too thin. And so my goal today is just to share this idea that if we focus on too many goals, the problem is we don't end up achieving the one thing that's most important, the one thing that's going to drive the business results that we need. Now, if you're thinking that's awesome, it's great, it's probably really clear cut for some other people, but not for us, well, we've got some propelling questions that I think can help us get to what that Keystone KPI could be for you. Maybe you start with the end in mind by asking, what will our most profitable customer segment say? What will our internal stakeholders say? The CEO actually matters the most, so we should probably be focused on sales here. I don't know what it is for you, but start with the end in mind. I think you can get there a little bit easier. In 1 year, where do we want to be specifically? Get super, super specific about that. Is there a metric that you've been weaker on? Maybe your content is really outdated. Maybe it really does need to be content for this next campaign. Or is there one thing that's going to drive the biggest impact for your business? And lastly, as you're thinking about all this and you're getting ready to shine a spotlight on a certain part of your business, are you actually ready for that? Now, how do Keystone KPIs actually come to life, and how do these look in real applications? I could tell you about how we're working with Persil to shine a spotlight, and we're using really the Keystone KPI of awareness to help them tell their story. Or I could tell you about See's Candy, and their Keystone KPI is all about content and all about getting really, really beautiful content. But my guess is that you don't maybe have a laundry detergent size budget, and maybe you're not the world's most beloved chocolate brand. And I can actually vouch for that because that is See's. They already won it. I love See's Candy. My guess is that maybe you're trying to do something brand new that's never been done before. You're trying to grow awareness for a brand new product, a brand new service that you're launching, and you don't really know how to achieve reaching that target audience. Well, that's exactly what Fremunda was looking to do when they came to us last year. Fremunda is a men's hygiene product. I think that's the safest way I can say that. They help keep you cool down there. They have a talc-free powder that's infused with essential oils. You can tell from Fremunda, that's where the name comes from. You can tell they got a little bit creative with the logo and everything going on there. And they had been growing, but they were really looking to do that next step and take their business to the next level. And so they came to us and said, hey, who would be a good influencer for us to work with? We had someone in mind. We didn't know exactly how it would all pan out. We knew of a guy named JP Sears. Has anybody ever seen this funny redhead? Okay, so a few of you guys have seen him before. He's hilarious. He's into all natural products. He's really into all of that. But really, instead of me talking to you about how this all panned out, Scott, actually, if you want to raise your hand, Scott is the founder of Fremunda. He is here today, and he actually swung by our office about a week and a half ago, and I had a chance to sit down and ask him about what his Keystone KPI was for this campaign.
Scott, how you doing?
Excellent.
Cool. Hey, thanks for coming by.
Hey, my pleasure.
So Scott, you guys have been growing for a while, and Fremunda had been around for 5 years. You guys were starting to take off, but you were looking to do that next step with influencer marketing. And so I'd love to know, what was your Keystone KPI as you started off with this strategy?
The KPI, really what we're looking to do is drive traffic to our site. We wanted to drive as much traffic to our site and Amazon as possible.
Why JP, and what about JP? Like, what was that like to work with him?
Well, he fit our brand perfectly. First of all, he's just a funny guy, but he also it kind of embodies what our customers are like. I mean, he's into natural products himself. He's a very very healthy lifestyle kind of a guy, but he also pokes fun at it, and that's what our brand is. It fell perfectly in line with what JP was about.
So you guys want to see how it all came together? Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Things got to this unbearably frustrating point where we had tried everything: therapy, communicating, date nights. But the divide in our relationship just kept getting worse.
JP was always doing hot yoga, CrossFit, and other things to compensate for his inadequacies. Things that always made him sweaty and smelly down there.
The more I did manly activities to make myself sexier for Amber, the more she was repulsed by me. It didn't make any sense.
He'd come home from a 2-hour bike ride in his frighteningly tight spandex shorts. What was underneath was a tour de funk.
Made it much worse.
In a last-ditch effort to salvage his funky junk and our relationship, I did something bold. I bought JP Fremunda. It's an all-natural nut powder.
Initially, I was offended that Amber was trying to make my crotch smell better. 1, I love to get offended. 2, I didn't know I had a problem down there.
He doesn't exactly have a degree in self-crotch awareness.
I don't have a degree in anything. But I think it was Lao Tzu who said, you can lead a horse to all-natural nut powder, but you can't make him use it. Luckily, this horse decided to use it.
And it worked! The Fremunda all-natural nut powder eliminated his wretched crotch smell that had been driving me away. Our broken relationship is a thing of the past. We're stronger than ever now.
I finally have my lady back because my nuts don't smell unnaturally awful anymore. All-natural nut powder saved our dying relationship, and it can save yours too. Lao Tzu would tell you, you just have to be the horse that uses it.
Wise, wise words. So it's kind of a weird product, and how do you tackle it in a way that's actually going to drive people to action? And what do you guys think happened? What were the results? Do you think they actually achieved their Keystone KPI of driving traffic with that video? Totally. Oh yeah, they totally did it. They got 500% of their traffic after the video launch. But not only that, they've actually seen a sustained growth over time, not only in the awareness that's happened, but in their sales. They just completed their last quarter. They had the best quarter they ever had. I think Scott's shaking his head. Yeah. I love it. I love when I can see that happen, when you have such a strong focus on the Keystone KPI and it starts to spill over into other elements that weren't even a priority goal in starting it. And you're like, that's great. JP Sears has 2 million followers. That's totally a macro level influencer. How do I do something that's a bit more scaled back or start with micro influencers? Well, another component of the Fremunda campaign was that we worked with a surfer. Guess what? Wetsuits are hot. They're really sweaty in there. So the use case was perfect. We also worked with a marathon runner, and there was a lot more use cases that started making a lot of sense for their product. Not only that, but the people who followed these other folks said, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I could use that as well. And so everything about this campaign all mattered back to their Keystone KPI of traffic. So we got it. We got how the expectation can transfer into your marketing strategy. We're feeling good about that. Awesome. The next thing I want to talk about is, as we've got the expectations set, and that's the pillar to our Keystone KPI, then how do we actually make this happen? How do we make our campaigns a reality and have influencer marketing that's real and that actually works? Because if you're a brand, you're probably already doing a lot of this. And that's really, really good. We do need things that are coming from the brand, that feel like they're coming from the brand. But my guess is that if you're doing influencer marketing, it's because you're wanting to add a real face, a real name, some element of realness to your marketing mix, whether that's the comedian, the expert, the celeb, the life goals. Having this can help take your marketing to a more real level. Now, by 2020, 57% of marketers say that influencer marketing will be integrated into all marketing activities. That's absolutely nuts. Last year it was only at 5%. This is growing, and we're going to see influencer marketing starting to be more of a content engine and a permanent fixture within the marketing mix. So as you're thinking about who could be a good fit for our brand, think about who epitomizes the brand, or how are you wanting to be portrayed? And lastly, not only from the brand perspective, but from an influencer perspective, will this actually feel real coming from that influencer? And so I can tell you a bunch of things about what makes for a successful influencer campaign and a successful partnership, but I think I'd rather have my buddy JP tell you a little bit about what he feels makes for a really successful brand partnership.
Hey there, lovely people. I'm JP Sears, and my friend Jordan asked me to share a few quick thoughts with you of my experience being an influencer working with brands. First off, as an influencer, sound a little pretentious here. When a brand treats me like a human and values my creativity, that helps me unlock my creativity. And in practical terms, how that oftentimes looks, in fact, my work with Fremunda, where we first off, we agreed on a vision, a concept of the video. They were excited about it. I was excited about it. And of course, it was clearly communicated what is the objective of the video. And then from there, I got to let my creativity go to work and fill in the details of the overall vision and concept that we created together. And if this helps you, wonderful. And if it doesn't, then I don't know. There's at least a little picture of my dog to make this video worthwhile.
Talk to y'all soon. So just like JP said, yes, we need some guardrails. Yes, we need to be clear about the objective and make sure our briefs are really tight when we're giving those to influencers, but ultimately allowing that influencer to have creativity to create content for the very reason that their followers followed them in the first place. And so we're going to see more of this type of activity happening, and we're already seeing a big increase in terms of long-term partnerships between brands and influencers. And so in closing the propelling questions, BT Dubs, who the heck is real today? Oh, I hate this. I hate that our industry has this taint to it, that there's a fakeness that's happening right now. Fake followers, fake engagement, fake music festivals that happen, and you probably have read all about that. I hate that there's fakeness that we have to mitigate against. But at August United, we use various tools and technologies to help us realize when an influencer might be a little more fake than real, and sometimes what that follower count looks like over time is a little more like a step stool, where here maybe they did a dark post and it was like some sort of shady sweepstakes that they were doing, or here's when they bought a whole bunch of followers in Russia. It's stuff that's completely irrelevant and can only inflate their following. We don't like that because we don't like paying for fake eyeballs. We want to make sure that that's real. And so what a real followership looks like is something that's a bit more gradual, that is a bit more increasing with time, surely ebbing and flowing, but this is what we want to be on the lookout for. We want a bolo, to use that term today. We got a bolo for real influencers out there. Let's raise the tide of influencer marketing and elevate it out of this fakeness that we're seeing. And so make sure, whether it's us that's doing your influencer program, or you have another agency, or you're doing it in-house, that you're making sure you're getting in front of real eyeballs, that there's real commenting and liking and sharing that's happening on things, and that you can attribute down to the influencer level how posts are performing. Is there something different in the copy, something different in the imagery? Be able to analyze which influencers are driving the results, and then tweak your strategy accordingly. So what's the future of it? How can we continue to raise the bar, and where's the space going? I think it's going to be an increased focus on longer term partnerships, that influencer marketing is going to be that content engine for brands, and there is going to be a focus on real. That's going to be a thing, that's going to continue to be a thing as we're moving forward. And so hopefully you can take some of these things back tomorrow when you go back to work to focus on your expectation, making sure that your Keystone KPI is in place, but that also you're making sure that you're working with real folks who are going to tell your brand story in a real way. You guys, go out there, let's stop boring marketing. Thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you all. Let's talk at happy hour. Thank you guys.